It is Santa Clarita's hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS, Canyon Country, Santa Clarita. Normally we'd be switching to CNN News. However, we have a very special guest on the line, and it is Mia Hamm. She's a former American soccer player. She played on the U.S. national team for 17 years. She won a World Cup in 1991, 99. She also took home gold medals in 96 and in 2004. She also won 4 straight national titles with the University of North Carolina, and Mia Hamm joins me now. Good to have you with me.
Thanks for having me, Kyle. I really appreciate it.
And you guys are opening up with a camp here in the Santa Clarita Valley, correct?
Yeah, I do a camp with 2 of my former teammates, Kristine, Lilly, and Tisha Venturini-Hoke, and it's called Team First Soccer Academy. And we started it because we wanted to give back to the game. A lot of inquiries if we were doing camps, and I know personally, but I wanted to do them with my teammates because what I feel when we come in and do a camp like this is you hear all different perspectives. You have players that play different positions at the highest level, and we really just want to share our experiences and our love and passion for the game with these young players.
You know, you say you want to share your experiences. Experience is the best teacher, and you have a little bit of it, especially when it comes to the game of soccer. I wanted to ask you what athletes. There's few athletes that are bigger than the game, and you certainly have. You put women's soccer on the map. I wanted to ask you, what athletes did you watch growing up?
Chris Everett. I remember watching Jackie Joyner-Kersee. A lot of the sports, like soccer, was kind of hard to watch. But I remember just hard to find on your TV.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, no. It's so much easier to kind of go. I mean, you probably have 5 or 6 different stations showing leagues, domestic leagues and leagues around the world. So a lot of the times I grew up in Texas and I was watching kind of Spanish-speaking channels. So. But I love the way Maradona dribbled the ball. I was able to see some highlights and see Pelé play when he played in the NASL, and watching my teammates on the women's national team. I love Claudio Reyna, who played for the U.S. men's national team, and just seeing what really excites me is, like I said, when I was younger and the lack of accessibility to even watch the game, but now kids have so many more options, and they can play at higher levels than any of us did, and that's exciting for myself, just in terms of being a fan of the game.
And I assume you watched this last Women's World Cup. And what, you were in the World Cup in 1987 was your first go around. You were 15 years old, right?
91.
91. Okay. Women's World Cup was, you were on the national team in 1987. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Okay. But first World Cup was 1991. Talk to me about the difference between the 91 Women's World Cup and the one that the U.S. just won this last year.
Well, first and foremost, I think just the knowledge and how invested people here were, in our country, but around the world in terms of the tournament. They knew what it was. I mean, the first Women's World Cup was in China, and I remember being in the hotel in Guangzhou, and the hotel is very common for a lot of foreigners to stay in. It's right on the river. It was very nice. And I remember being sitting with a teammate, and this American comes up and, like, in a really loud voice, is like, "What country are you from?" And we're like, "The United States." And she goes, "Oh, who do you play for?" And we said, "Well, we're here for the World Cup. We play for the U.S. women's national team." And it didn't register. Like, she's like, "So is that from, like, a certain state, like California?" We're like, "No, we're from all over," and
you guys won the World Cup.
Yeah, and so then the conversation went to, well, we're kind of like the Olympic team, and then she's like, "Oh my gosh, the Olympic team! Wow, you must be good." We're like, "Well, we hope so."
Holy cow!
But now you see, we came home, we won, and there were 2 people waiting at the airport, and one was the president of our federation, the other one was from the airlines. that we flew all the way. We flew from China across Europe and Asia back, so we took the really long route.
Good grief.
But now you see what these women have: ticker tape parades and they're grand marshals in Thanksgiving Day parades, and they're on TV, and it's crazy. It's awesome. It's to see how the game has grown, and to see how these women have really carried us to into the next generation of players. I was at the final. I was cheering my face off and crying at the end, just so proud of them, and it was what an amazing event, and just that's what you want. That's what you want for the game. That's what you want for the future, and just so excited about the direction that these women are taking this team.
She's Mia Hamm, American soccer player. She played on the U.S. national team for 17 years. She put U.S. women's soccer, really U.S. soccer on the map, but women's soccer especially. And I wanted to ask you, when did you notice, because you were on the national team at 15, when did you notice that soccer was going to be your career?
Well, I was a good athlete, but I was kind of, I was good at whatever I played, and I'm not saying that in a bragging way, but I wasn't great. It wasn't like I played basketball. I was really fast and could steal the ball and make a layup, but I had no jump shot, and the best thing to do was to foul me because I couldn't make a free throw. So, and same with soccer. I was just very athletic, very quick. I had great acceleration, but I wasn't a very good soccer player. So I remember going into the first training camp and was really overwhelmed, not just with the level of play, but the intensity and the commitment. I was like, hey, I thought I was competitive. And, I'm playing alongside, women that are in college and just out of college and that would do anything to win a small-sided game. And I kind of left there excited, but to some degree a little bit discouraged because I wasn't at the level I needed to be to continue to stay on that team. And that's kind of what I committed myself to. I remember coming home, and I'd never, owned a pair of running shoes. And I think that was the first thing I said to my dad was, I need to go buy some running shoes because I'm not very fit. I just barely passed the fitness test we had, and I was so surprised that we had to continue to practice afterwards. I was like, I have nothing left. I just barely made it through this. But that's kind of the experience. And then I really decided soccer was for me after that first camp because it challenged me, and I'm just with my skill set. I was like, this might be the sport where I can find my true potential. And I was very blessed with a coach that kind of made you want to do that every single day of practice. Is you owe it to yourself to see how good you can be. Like, aren't you the least bit curious to see what your potential is? And I was, and I was grateful to incredible teammates who kind of lived through a lot of we lived through a lot of each other's growing pains in terms of learning the game and getting better. And but in the end, we were committed to being as good as we knew we all could be, as well as trying to raise the level and exposure of the game for the future generations.
You're fighting. You fought two separate battles. It was exposure for the game and the stuff on the field. Can you maybe talk a little bit about how, because you talked about, your training and stuff like that. I think people, when they watch sports, they think that they're just great athletes and they show up to the game and they play. But how much hard work, maybe for those who are, trying to be a professional soccer player, those growing up wanting to be a professional athlete, how hard is it to become a professional athlete and to become a champion? And what type of mindset do you have to have? And really, how hard do you have to work?
Well, I think... it depends on the individual, but it's 100% commitment. I mean, I marvel at, I had teammates that had children during our run to the World Cup, and when I would come back after a tough practice and whatever happened at practice is still, you're replaying it in your mind the entire time. And they have to go now, take care of their kids for the next 8 hours of the day. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't even recover from this training session. I don't know how you do it. It's you have to be all in. Like, everything you do impacts your performance, whether it's how you sleep, what you eat, how long you're on your feet, your cool down, your stretching, are you getting enough strength work? So it's one of those things that you're constantly invested in. And I think, especially for us when you're running into tournaments, is, big events like World Cup and Olympics, is making sure that you're peaking at the right time, and you go through stages where, you have events, like the women right now are going to start in January. They have qualifiers for the Olympics. So they're doing a victory tour, but at the same time, the coach is trying to then ramp up their fitness to peak for their qualifiers, because you want to be playing extremely well. And then you kind of have a period, if you qualify, where you bring it back down so you're not running at such a high intensity and you're burning out before the Olympics. So, I mean, it's a full commitment. It's always on your mind in terms of what you can do better, what you didn't do well in the last practice, and you're just trying to continue to build every single day to what your ultimate goal is, whether it's your World Cup or a specific tournament or trying to make a roster. It's pretty much all-encompassing.
She's Mia Hamm, former soccer great and two-time World Cup winner, two-time gold medal winner. I've finished third in a tournament one time when I was 10 years old. That's my athletic achievement.
Congrats.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I did want to ask you this. Your husband is Nomar Garciaparra. That's not a question. But when your kids don't want to practice, Nomar Garciaparra, former baseball player and current Dodger broadcaster, when your kids don't want to practice, don't want to go to school, is there an excuse that gets them out of it? Because I feel like they probably have to,
No. I mean, I was just with my kids at Run Club early this morning at school, and one of my daughters was, she just wasn't into it, and you could tell, and she kind of kept finding ways to stop by her backpack and drink a bunch of water, and, I was like, hey, let's go. And she's like, but I have a question to ask you, and then she couldn't, she's just stalling. And, but just trying to, more about like, they committed to doing this, let's stay with it. I'm telling them, you don't have to be the fastest kid, you don't have to have the most laps, just continue to move in the morning, and, because you wanted to be a part of this. And, I also understand we all have bad days. I mean, there were days where I thought my feet were put on the wrong legs, and I where things are bouncing off your shins, or days where you didn't make fitness because you just kind of told yourself I wasn't going to make it. So I get it, but you want them, at the very least, to just stay committed to what they've agreed to do.
They probably learned that from their father anyway.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, okay.
Probably.
I wanted to ask y'all, I'll get you out of here on this. Again, Mia Hamm joining us on the phone, and she is going to be hosting a soccer club, little 3-day training camp, and with the Santa Clarita Blue Heat. And I wanted to ask you this. I've run down your accolades, two-time World Cup champion. You were at one point, Abby Wambach has taken over, but you were the leading goal scorer in U.S. women's history. You had 142 goals, or 158 goals, 142 assists. You were part of one of the most important, probably, teams in the history of American sports, a part of the 99ers. You're in the Soccer Hall of Fame. I think you only did I read this right? You only lost one game in college?
Yeah.
Good heavens. Okay. All right. But I wanted to ask you this. You have run the gamut. If you just wanted to stay home and hang out with your kids, the world would probably be okay with that. What inspires you to continue to grow the game and continue to just be a part of the beautiful game?
Well, this game has given me so much. I mean, first and foremost, kind of the people in my life and those life experiences, and really taught me how to be a better person, how to persevere, how to work hard. All the intangibles we talk about sports. And if this can inspire another boy or girl to believe more in themselves and their potential, that's what we're trying to do. I mean, we're, like you said, the camp is December 11th, 12th, and 13th. On the Friday, it's 5 to 7. We'll be out at Santa Clarita Central Park, and then on Saturday, Sunday, we'll be at Masters College. But that's what we do. It's not like we have this amazing, groundbreaking soccer knowledge to give you. We are on the field for every second of every training session, and we're demoing and we're hands-on with the players that we're teaching during our 3-day camp. But we want these players to feel empowered when they leave. We want them to know that they matter. And, because that's what, I was a really shy kid. I was an emotional kid. I was a good athlete, but I didn't know how to put it all together. And sports really helped me to do that, and in particular soccer. And it's given me, Kristine and Tish are two of my best friends. I mean, I do this because I love the game, and I get to hang out with two of my best friends and share our love and knowledge of the game with all these young players. And that's why we're excited to be here. We think we're hoping we have great weather, which we usually do in Southern California. But I'm just so grateful at the opportunity to spend time with these young players, and I love the fact that it's co-ed. All three of us grew up playing, against our older brothers and playing co-ed soccer, and I think we have so much to learn from each other. And so it's going to be a great 3 days, and just hoping people come out. They can register at teamfirstsocceracademy.com, or they could go to the Santa Clarita, like you said, FC Blue Heat website. And, kids from 7 to 18, we'd love to see you out there.
Awesome. Mia Hamm, I wanted, on behalf of all sports fans, I'm a huge sports fan, and, I grew up, watching the 99ers, so this is a treat for me, so I appreciate you being generous with your time, and thank you for stopping by, and good luck with the camp.
All right. Thanks, Kyle.
All right. That was Mia Hamm, former soccer great, here on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. I am tickled pink, and I will take a break now on your hometown station.